Hi, this is Camille Larynn, and welcome to CTV Live's Media Maven. And today, my special guest is Elizabeth James, also known as Liz Lenses, as the media correspondent for Go With The Flow Entertainment. Hello, Miss Liz. How are you doing?
Hi, Camille. How are you today? I'm doing really well.
I'm doing well. I'm really happy to have you here as our media maven. I have been, like I said, I've told you before, I've been following you and Go With The Flow Entertainment for a while now. And every time I would be at an event and Go With The Flow Entertainment is there, I'm like, they're on top of it. And then I'm like, that's that same correspondent that I've seen before. She must be really into her craft and everything that she's doing. These guests that she's interviewing are, they're prominent, they're named people. And I'm excited and I'm proud of you and I'm, everything that you have going on. And I can't wait to learn more about you and also your photography and being a self-taught photographer. So thank you for joining me.
No, thanks for having me. It's truly an honor. I actually looked into the definition of a media maven. And I really wanted to make sure I align with it. And I was like, I do. And the fact that you got that perception from me lets me know that I'm effectively doing my job. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So one thing that is definitely important to me is understanding why someone is into media and why it's their passion, because we all know that it doesn't just come to you success or being chosen to be a media correspondent for any organization or any person. So what was that driving force into, I'm not getting paid for this right now, but I'm into this, I'm going to keep going? What drew you to media? What told you this one day that this is what I want to do and I'm into it?
That's a great question, Camille. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. So I figured out my love for media, I would say, in elementary school. One random day, they had called a student to the office. I always paid attention to the morning announcements. It intrigued me. I don't know what it was about television production that intrigued me, but I would just get excited. I would just be really happy anytime I had any kind of involvement with it. Honestly, I would just say I was always into watching several different platforms of media, which is why I knew I had a true love for it, from radio, as far as looking up to Angie Ange, listening to morning shows, from the morning news, from watching Sean Yancey on Channel 5, or just seeing a Black female representation, let me know that I too could do it too. So that was the driving force behind it. And I just had a genuine love for it. I loved the different platforms, the different ways of it could just be exposed to someone, because it's so important and it's not seen like that in all lives. People just see the camera and the glitz and glam, but it's more so the after effect of it. I think that's what truly keeps me going. And also just every sector of my life and growth and life development, I've always just tried to somewhat implement a way. In high school, I was the director of the morning announcements. I also worked on yearbooks, so it wasn't only just morning announcements. I was into graphics. I was into making flyers, making people aware. Just the strategic communication portion of media is really what kept me going. Even in college, my major was, I had to decide. I was researching, my mom wanted me to do nursing, so I was always in a constant battle to prove to others why this is important, why I'm so in love with it. Honestly, I'll say college was when I really, really understood that this was my true passion. Because
what was the moment that solidified for you? Because you said your mom wanted you to do nursing and, having that type of pressure on you, but still having a passion for something. What was that moment that solidified for you? No, I'm going to keep going with this. My major is going to be something media related and you guys are going to have to get used to it. What was it? An interview that solidified for you? Was it a class? Was it a mentor? Was it a program? What was it that you were a part of that kept you going?
I would say I just challenged myself. I researched. I honestly did honest research. I was broadcast, in integrated media coming into college, and I tried to seek out other majors that necessarily paid more, and I just couldn't force myself to do it. I took classes. I just didn't have the same drive, and I didn't have a concern for it. It didn't challenge me. I just didn't like it. So that's how I initially knew. And then I tried other things, and I was like, okay, well, how can I monetize, learn my theories, and still learn how to work all the working parts of media, which led me to come across public relations. So I graduated from my degree at Morgan State University, go Bears. And, I was surrounded by people who had the same characteristics as me, same goals, same ambitions, same realm of character, just of ambition. So I knew it was the perfect fit at that moment when I started enrolling in those classes. So honestly, I just think it takes just researching what you're quote unquote interested in, like see if you're really about it, honestly.
So I know you mentioned to me before that you were a part of an enrichment program that you did, was in high school?
Yes.
And that's when you were first introduced to Go With The Flow Entertainment, or was
no, so the high school enrichment program was something I did with my best friend. We just were I guess some people may call nerdy, but no, we were just on it about our future. Like we wanted to actually make something of ourselves. So it was free. It was a program that taught photography, public speaking, and excellent writing skills. And I was just like, that's gonna be beneficial to me. So I took advantage. And then honestly, I didn't pick up a camera again until I got involved with Go With The Flow. As their intern, I didn't really have a choice because the kind of industry we work in, you have to know all the working parts of.
Right. So as far as fulfilling the different roles, please explain and elaborate to the people that are watching and they may be thinking to themselves like, I'm going to be the best host, but nothing else is important. Explain to them why it is important to know the different roles, at least have touched the editing at least, a few times and appreciating the production, the post, and like you said, fulfilling those different roles, why that is important, and how has that aided you as a media correspondent?
That's a great question again, Camille. I would say it has molded me to be my best self. It's so imperative that you learn how to fulfill the different roles of a media team, because you never know. Like literally every situation is different. Most times when you're doing a media engagement, it's definitely fast paced. There's no one going to be there to tell you to do this. You just kind of have to be observant and know and be ready to take on the role. It's important to be able to facilitate an interview and, have media training, because, if you're the only one who knows how to talk to someone, ask the right questions, what the viewers wants to know. You have to kind of project yourself in a way to where you can command a conversation and still ask questions in the same way without getting lost, sidetracked in nonsense conversation. It's important to know how to work a camera, of course, to capture the media. It's just important to have those skills, because you never know who's going to be available, what you have to work with at that time. It's just convenient to know how to do all different forms. For example, editing is important because I'm also a social media manager too. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to editing and preparing like marketing materials, you're not going to call your videographer, can you edit this one part? No, you have to be self-sufficient in this field in order to thrive, because it's just one of those things. You have to do the work and know how to just work in all. Just you have the more advantage when you attain these skills. It's more so you're doing yourself a favor rather than waiting on John and Susie to help you do it. Just kind of your own self.
Right. So you say you never know when things might happen. Is there a particular time or a story that you could tell where, but you had to keep it pushing, and how did you get through that? If there was a time, how did you get through that without basically the audience knowing, they kind of was struggling a little bit? Like what was that experience like? Like what was that story that you could tell where you prevailed through?
I have a great story to talk about. Okay, so this actually happens a little bit more frequently than I'd like, but so it was the season 3 premiere of Snowfall. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that show.
Yeah, it's a really good show. It comes on one of those premium FX. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yes, so we were going to the premiere, and it was in a movie theater in like downtown DC at that 5-6 o'clock hour, and everyone knows that is not the time to be playing around with traffic. So pretty much I had arrived to the scene before my CEO and the main media correspondent of Go With The Flow Essence, arrived. So it was like nerve-wracking actually, because I was there with my camera, my materials, having my mics ready to go, but it was just nerve-wracking. However, luckily one of my colleagues was there to help me, press record. But if needed, I was going to be able to jump in and stand in and grab the interviews, because the cast, I was already walking in, they were ready, I was ready, but it was just that, that few moments of my heart beating before she had walked in, I'm like, yo, I'm going to have to really do this on my own.
Right.
But the fact that I was actually even capable of doing so, I was able to at least be set up, ready to go. And when she came, I was literally ready to, let's go. I gave her mic, and, we just kept it rolling. And it was just because we're in sync that way. But had I not been prepped and ready to go, it really could have been a mess. It could have been an honest, true mess. So I would just say, if I was just there as a media correspondent, I really could have just looked really crazy, not knowing how to work my camera, not knowing how to set up, I was just there as, full-on support, and I was just happy I was able to be there as that, and I knew if necessary I would be ready.
Right. So fulfilling different roles, being ready, you have to be a confident person. I don't care what anyone says, I have always, when speaking with someone that says they want to do media, my first question to them, or something that I stress, is why, and are you confident? Do you have the confidence to do this? Because getting in front of the camera is not the only thing, so how did you gain that confidence? If you had to in that moment, what was going to push you to be able to be the media correspondent for that night and do those interviews? Had their CEO not came that night or been super late, what was the thing that was going to push you to not miss that opportunity and make sure that Go With The Flow was representing? And what gave you the confidence to say, I want to be a media correspondent?
Great question. So initially, when asked to do media corresponding, I wasn't opposed to it, nor was I super excited. I just knew it was one of those things. I was fearful about it because I'm naturally an introvert. But I knew in this business, in this industry, it's not meant for introverts. People who thrive are extroverts. They have personality. They're able to execute it, whether it's them or not. It's in that moment. And I know that where I wanted to be career goal-wise, I had to tap into that extroverted version of myself. So when I am going to go on screen, when I am going on camera, I just kind of tap into that realm of how I want to be perceived online and offline. So I try to be exciting, innovative, just, have that culture for my audience, to where I feel like, they feel like I'm their homegirl, like their best friend, oh, Liz has the info for me, let me tune in and listen. I don't want that superficial aspect. I think about how I want to be perceived. And that's how I tap into that mindset of being a media entrepreneur correspondent.
So the purpose for Media Maven and why I've created it and how it came about was the fact that a lot of people say that they want to do media and they need someone to look up to, someone to ask questions. So that's why I invite media persons like yourself onto the platform, so that I ask the questions that the audience want to know. And one thing that always comes up, no matter what, like we mentioned before, being okay with working for free. What would you say to the audience as a motivation to keep going, to, you're going to have to be okay with working for free, and why you have to work for free sometimes? What is something that you would tell our audience, that maybe in college, maybe in high school, maybe in college, or freelancing, or anything like that? Sometimes you're going to have to work for free or do extra things that are for free so that, what's the betterment of the team. What is something that you would say to them that may be struggling with that fact?
Great question again. I would say don't do media if you're not willing to work for free, just for the simple fact that one, you have to build your portfolio. You have to be able to start from the ground up. You have to be humble within yourself to know that, like, the pay of media shows you, like, okay, if you're not hungry and gonna create that, it's like, it's more so of a what have you done for me lately kind of industry. And you always have to constantly keep yourself relevant, build off your portfolio, use that to push yourself forward, really build yourself. Like, you don't know everything. No one knows everything. So the humbleness and the humility that comes with working under someone, you can't read in a book. You can't obtain from someone telling you. It's just something you have to, deal with, because it's kind of like that's gonna bring, it's a part of your story more so. It's just, that's how you just grow as an individual within this industry. Because if not, you'll just find yourself trying to demand things that aren't necessarily warranted. I just believe that it just develops you as a person. It just builds character. It's just important and imperative. A quick story time is just that for Go With The Flow. Yes, I came across it on a social media post. I am related to the CEO, but that doesn't mean it was given to me easy. I literally had to earn my way before I even earned the title of intern. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, I literally probably had to work at it.
That was something that you actually mentioned in our pre-interview, was gaining the trust of the CEO. Yeah. So one thing before we have to wrap this up, what is some advice that you would give someone coming into a new situation and there's someone that they look up to, and understanding that, you may think that you are big popping out here, but this is someone that you're working for. And what is some advice that you would give to someone to that fact of you had to gain that person's trust, whether you were related to them or not? What is something that you would tell someone that is interested in media when it comes to that?
Be a sponge. For me, what I tell myself is I am a forever student of life. I take advantage of every opportunity to learn, to grow, to better myself. Because at the end of the day, like I said before, I don't know everything, and I'm going to take every advantage to be my best self. So I would just say, just take advantage of available opportunities. There's so many opportunities for us to be invited in a space, but we let our laziness or our pridefulness stop us from actually progressing. Like, I had to be humble and literally ask my, relative, like, hey, can I get on with your team? And I believe she had been burned in the past. So she was literally testing me. Like, I got it the worst rather than if I was a stranger. So her doing that to me was frustrating. Don't get me wrong, I was upset at times, but I had to find the right mediums of communication and, propose, different, compromising agreements in which work for the both of us, which was also beneficial for the both of us, because now we're closer than ever. And I literally gained a mentor, a boss, and just, a role model in me doing so. So it benefited me in the end. And I literally, anything she gets, I get first access to, because why? I was there. I built that rapport. I showed my loyalty as a worker, and, she could count on me. I was reliable. So that was just probably one of the best takeaways from my journey, honestly.
So two things I want to talk about.
Okay.
One, Liz lenses as the photographer, and then I wanted you to wrap this up with your podcast into information. So you're a self-taught photographer. What made you get into photography and teach yourself photography?
Great question. So I decided to be self-taught. I didn't decide. I have a choice. I didn't have a choice because, like I said, being in media, being an intern, I had to fill in, I had to step up. I had to be available at certain events and, capture this picture and get this person doing this and, step in as a videographer as well. And that's not my main thing, but, I know how to edit. I know how to edit clips for social media. It just kind of, for photography in particular, I just enjoyed it. I got a different dopamine release, just like how on social media when you get likes, it's the same dopamine release to me when I get that awesome photo when people are happy within themselves. I love the essence of capturing someone's beauty because that makes me feel happy. And I've been on the other side of the camera and not necessarily enjoyed my outer appearance, but me being able to capture someone else's and making them happy makes me happy. So that's why I genuinely, said, I'm going to go ahead and take this seriously and do this. And I definitely love event photography because I get the network.
So explain the grind of being self-taught. Like, I want to do this, but I don't have the money to necessarily pay for all those workshops or, and what was that experience like for you being a self-taught photographer and still teaching yourself?
I'm just like you said, I'm still teaching myself. I go on YouTube University, log in, and I, research the things I want to know the answers to. I don't want to do a particular thing. If I want to edit photos a certain way, down to the best platform I use to edit my photos, I just constantly research, constantly try to be an expert in my industry as much as possible. And just, finding ways to stay creative, or just, say if I'm just walking out the house, going to an event, I take my camera with me, because as a photographer, I need to consistently work towards my craft, work on it, and do it in all realms and all, because that's how I get better. So just taking advantage.
And taking your camera with you everywhere. That actually, one of the previous media mavens that I had on before, I had on Davey J the Virgo.
Okay.
He told me that he wasn't ashamed to promote himself. And that when you just said taking your camera when you go to an event, you never know what opportunity may present itself. And you're there like, oh, I didn't have my camera. Like, how upset would you be with yourself when you get home? Like, that could have been my moment. If someone was there, you never know who may be in a spot, and you have to be there shamelessly promoting yourself, the craft, your work, your art, and all of those things. So I commend you for, putting yourself out there as a self-taught photographer and being humble enough to ask your relative, can this possibly be an opportunity for me? And the last thing I want to talk about is your podcast, The Love Seat. It sounded really interesting, so I want you to promote The Love Seat to our audience and tell them where we can listen.
Awesome. All right. So the Love Seat podcast is this new podcast I'm developing currently. It's based upon relationship topics, and not just romantic, all realms of relationships, whether it be brother, sister, mother, daughter, father, son, friendships, work related ships. I wanted to do this because through when I was in the workforce, I always had these conversations with my coworkers about this. They were very controversial, and I feel like we all had different perspectives based upon where we were in life and the things we've experienced. So I thought it would be cool to kind of give these talks a platform, and as well as educate people on how to strengthen their role within a relationship too, but in the same instance be organic and informal, so that way everyone's relaxed. It's not like a structured type seamless show. I just wanted to open the platform for conversation. I want the conversation to be had, bring awareness, because a lot of times people don't really consider other perspectives. So I thought it would be pretty cool to work with my colleague, and who's a male, and give his insight on certain things, because as females sometimes don't know everything. Males of course don't know everything, but if we hear each other out from different ways, or how they deal with things, or how we deal with things, that may change somebody's mindset, or help someone, or educate another, or propose something new in someone's life.
Where can we listen to the Love Seat podcast, and how can someone contribute or be a part of Lenz's The Brand?
That's a great question. You can reach out to me via email to be a part of my brand. And also the Love Seat podcast will be available on SoundCloud. It's not launching until next month. I pushed the date back just because that's my birthday, June 10th. I just was like, you know what? I'll be ready for this new chapter and this new podcast once, that. And I just set it around that. And I've been nervous, and I am a little bit slight of a perfectionist, but in this new season that I'm going into, I'm not doing that anymore. So I said, why not on my birthday? I can actually declare that, like, they're not perfect, and I'm going to put this out there, and I'll grow, and you guys will see the growth, and I'm going to document it as much as possible. So it's going to be available on YouTube and SoundCloud visually, and podcasts that you can listen to while you're driving.
Yay. So last thing, what is your social media handles, and where can we find yourself and your work?
Awesome. So you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter or on Facebook if you guys are on there. I'm trying to be more active on all platforms. So on Facebook, it's Elizabeth James. On Twitter, it's the L word. That's THELWORDDD. And on Instagram, it's Liz Lenses, LIZLENSES. So you guys can reach out to me. My contact info is in my bio Instagram. I'm on there more so you can reach out to me on there. That's how Camille got in contact with me via email.
Well, thank you so much, Miss Elizabeth James, also known as Liz Lenses, for being with us on CTV Live Media Maven. It was a pleasure speaking with you and finally getting to talk to you after following you for so long. I'm very happy to finally gotten a chance to interview you. I can't wait to see more of your work. I'm proud of your work, and just congratulations on everything that you have coming up. And I'm excited for this podcast, and I hope everyone goes and they check that out and they listen to the podcast, The Love Seat, on SoundCloud, and you said Spotify?
SoundCloud and YouTube.
So everyone, please tune in to Miss Liz Lenses. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for having me, Camille. It's been great and awesome.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.